So, what do you know about hip-hop literacy? Peace, I'm Dr. Kashema Hutchinson, and I got us started out. Hip-hop is more than a musical genre. It is a dynamic cultural movement that serves as a powerful form of literacy, expression, and resistance. This video essay explores hip-hop as a creative critical literacy by examining its elements, knowledge of self and community, graffiti, DJing, and MCing as pedagogical tools. By integrating these elements into educational spaces, we can foster innovative literacy practices that empower participants to critically engage with the world and articulate their voices in meaningful ways. To elaborate, I will discuss an 8-week hip-hop literacy program that uses hip-hop's creativity as a vehicle for critical literacy, addressing issues of power, resistance, and identity. Incorporating hip-hop into learning expands traditional literary and art pedagogies. It encourages students to create multimodal texts that engage with social justice issues through the elements of hip-hop. Hip-hop's emphasis on storytelling, coded language, and counter-narratives aligns with culturally responsive teaching, providing students with alternative ways to engage and imagine with texts, histories, and issues that affects them. As an educator, the Black Panther Party's 5th point of their 10-point program and their Oakland Community School inspire my work. The 5th point reads, "We want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present-day society. We believe in an educational system that will give to our people a knowledge of self. If you do not have knowledge of yourself and your position in the society and the world, then you will have little chance to know anything else." This coincides with hip-hop's 5th element, knowledge of self and community, which was created to resist the capitalistic claw that would get a tight hold on the culture and community that conceived it. Therefore, my focus is empowering my community to see the genius within themselves and resist the injustices they face. In January of 2025, I hosted and facilitated 5th Element, a hip-hop literacy program for the community, to allow them to see the genius in the culture, which is usually vilified and viewed as a hindrance. To do so, I teamed up with the New Lots branch of the Brooklyn Public Library, along with hip-hop literacy practitioners Jahari Nova James of Straight Outta Brooklyn Media and Summer McCoy of the Mixtape Museum. Like a DJ said, the sessions were curated to engage, experience, and educate while building on each other. But even if you were late to the party, you could still join the others on the dance floor. In addition, it was a hybrid program to be accessible to all. For the sessions, participants received a notebook, pen, and Tupac's poetry book, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. So let's get the party started with Unit 1, the foundation. Week 1 was Hip Hop Literacy 101. Nova facilitated the first session and defined what is hip hop literacy. Hip hop literacy is the ability to read, interpret, and articulate through hip hop elements, which centers the voices and experiences of marginalized communities, especially their youth. This is grounded in the belief that literacy is more than decoding text, it's decoding the world and ourselves. For week 2, graffiti literacy, we discussed whether graffiti was art or vandalism, introduced terms such as pieces, throw-ups, and location references such as the bench, all city, and the yards. Shout out to 5 points. Finally, we developed a critical lens of graffiti from different eras, locations, and their respective messages. Graffiti is a visual mode of expression that serves as an alternative literacy practice that resists erasure and amplifies marginalized voices. Participants explored graffiti as a form of visual rhetoric. Then it was their turn to create their own pieces connected to their identity and as a response to a social justice issue. They could either write on a wall or a train that was provided for them physically in the class or online through Canva. This became cathartic for some of the participants. For Unit 2, Space, Time, and Technology, we started week 3 off with sampling and storytelling. In this session, we explored the art and science of sampling by hip-hop DJs and producers. Then we went into the history of sampling and the technological advances that were made. We also explored the term sonic lineage and its connection to sampling. Then examples of hip-hop sampling, storytelling, and connecting generations were provided. For example, Wyclef Jean's Guantanamera. This was followed by understanding sampling as a form of citation. Sampling is the practice of recontextualizing sounds and lyrics from existing works and mirrors academic citation and intertextuality. Using whosample.com, the participants also learned how to see who cited their favorite songs and or if their favorite songs were sampled and how. Week 4 was mixtapes and J-cards, which was virtually facilitated by Summer McCoy of the Mixtape Museum. During this session, we defined a mixtape and how it differs from a playlist. We learned the history of the cassette tape and elaborated on how the cassette's accessibility impacted hip-hop culture. Next, we broke down how and why the mixtape is a storyteller. The participants created a mixtape that reflected a theme. The J-card was introduced and how it relates to identity, branding, and creative expression. Finally, there was an exercise to design a J-card to represent the mixtape that they created earlier in the session. Mixtapes serve as curated collections of ideas, emotions, and arguments. Next up was Unit 3, Critically Speaking. For Session 5, Critical Literacy featuring Biggie Tupac, we defined critical literacy, analyzed the lyrics and lives of Tupac and Biggie to understand the relationship between language and power. Then we branched out to discuss other artists and their works. This session engaged with the term conscious or consciousness and how it's defined and expressed in hip-hop culture. Week 6 was critical race theory in hip-hop. We defined critical race theory and the tenets of critical race theory. We identified the key people and critical race theory's genealogy. Then we examined whether critical race theory is within hip-hop culture, more specifically rap music, and how is it expressed. To do so, we used rapper Meek Mill. Because Meek Mill is not the typical go-to rapper for conscious lyrics on socio-political issues that impact our community, the Philly rapper was chosen because of his experiential knowledge, his lyrics, and his social justice work that aligns with critical race theory. Learning how to critically listen to rap lyrics affords us the ability to hear narratives about knowledge, power, and truth. Unit 4, Applying and Resisting. For Week 7, Battle of the Worldviews, we identified what is a dominant worldview and why is it dominant. Then we critiqued and challenged the notion of authority. We then reframed rapper Meek Mill as a philosopher and posted him against notable philosophers and their theories. The battle was to challenge the dominant worldviews with rap lyrics. With Meek Mill's discography, he went up against Pierre Bourdieu's Social Capital and Abraham Maslow's Motivational Needs with the assistance of an infographic and Tara Yasso's Community Cultural Wealth. During the session, we used images, lyrics, and theories to teach about dominant worldviews and create awareness that someone with a GED can still be critical and articulate theories like those with a master's degree. For Week 8, Critical Karaoke, we're again applying the critical lens that has been sharpened over the previous sessions. We chose a rap song with a social justice issue, analyzed the topics mentioned in the song, and discussed the song as a collective. Normally, it's an individual or small group project, but the group wanted to do it as a community. The class suggestion actually worked out best, and it was a moment to remember. Hip-hop literacy explores and reimagines literacy education by positioning hip-hop as a legitimate and transformative pedagogical approach. By integrating elements of hip-hop, not just what was mentioned in this essay, educators can create inclusive, engaging learning spaces that honor students' cultural knowledge while equipping them with critical and creative literacy skills. Hip-hop is not just an art form, it is a movement of pedagogy and a mode of resistance. Through creative, critical hip-hop literacy, we can inspire the next generation of learners to read, write, and remix their way toward a more just and expressive world with their own stories to tell.